every 23 years for 23 days. It gets to eat. Anyway, guys, it's me, Muscummy456, and today we're checking out a new video that has one of basically my favorite horror characters in it. Now I have watched the movies. Okay, so what? I already know how to kill this thing. This will be revealed to you in the video. But anyway, if you guys are having a good end of the year process, tell me if you guys want to. No one comments on my videos, and if it is, it's post better content type of stuff, which is what I'm doing today. So today we're checking out how to kill the creeper. So if you guys want to go look this channel up, it's right here. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video. Enough time stalling. How to kill the creeper.
Hey guys, I'm Kaya, and today we're doing one of the most requested monsters in the history of how to kill, the creeper.
I'm excited for this
I'm not talking
video.
about the DC superhero or those little guys in Minecraft. I'm talking about my own personal worst nightmare, the truck driving terror from Jeepers Creepers. We've been putting him off because, frankly, he's still mostly a mystery, unlike Jason Voorhees, who we got to know pretty well over the course of a dozen movies.
Yeah.
There have only been
Jason
3
Takes Manhattan
films in the
is,
Jeepers Creepers franchise.
not my
and so
favorite.
far, no one has been able to destroy this demon for good.
He was trying to warn all of us that this thing has been around for thousands of years and that nothing has been able to kill it.
So keep your body parts firmly attached and don't even think about singing that song while we attempt to figure out how to kill the creeper.
I like this song, but it's probably copyright.
This is not going to be easy, people. I mean, for one thing, the creeper is
probably
one of the most formidable
copyright.
foes ever seen in a horror movie.
It just tore his head off.
He's like if you asked a little kid to design the scariest, deadliest monster possible. He's got 2 giant bat wings to swoop out of the sky and grab you, razor-sharp teeth, claws, and talons to tear your flesh apart, and telekinetic control over an arsenal of
That one I
axes
didn't
and
know.
shurikens.
I thought.
Even worse,
I just thought he had very good aim, not telekinetic control over shurikens and daggers and stuff.
he's smarter than your average slasher. I mean, Michael Myers can drive a car, but can he wait in line for a vanity license plate at the DMV? I don't think so. Can Jason Voorhees create a work of art out of his victims' stitched-up bodies? Does Freddy Krueger have a favorite song?
My name is Freddy, and I'm
Really
here to
bad
say
example.
I mean, okay, that's a bad example.
Yeah, very
But
bad
still,
example.
With all those tools at the creeper's disposal, it's a stretch to even survive with your eyeballs intact. And if you want to kill him, well, you've got your work cut out for you. It'll definitely take more than a hit and run. Derry and Trish Jenner were driving home for spring break when they make the ultimate horror movie mistake. They stuck their noses where they didn't belong.
Okay, you know the part in scary movies where somebody does something really stupid and everybody hates them for it? This is it.
After a big-ass truck nearly drives them off the road, they could have just kept on going. But when Derry sees a mysterious man shoving bodies down a pipe, his ass decides to convince his sister to turn back and investigate. And soon they'd learn the creeper's secret. Also, if you see a man shoving bodies down a pipe, you don't follow.
Exactly.
Of a little adventure or something. Because this is why girls are
He probably
smarter,
just doesn't
okay?
want to go home for spring
Didn't
break.
want to go home for spring break.
Because I don't want to go to Florida, it's just old people. Oh, and then he died. So. He doesn't just eat people.
Did he get kicked in the
A little
balls?
adventure or something. Because this is why girls are smarter, okay?
Did he get kicked in the balls?
I don't want to go to Florida, it's just old people. Oh,
Yep.
and then he died, so.
Yes, he did.
He doesn't just eat people because he loves the yummy taste of human flesh. He consumes their body parts and uses them to replace his own. Whatever it eats
Becomes a part of it.
becomes a part of it. If he needs a hand, he just gobbles one up and boom, it's his, tattoo and all. Vision getting a little fuzzy? Just snag some new eyeballs. There's even a deleted scene where the creeper gets the ability to speak after chowing down on a police officer's tongue.
She don't smell too good. There he is.
That's a horrible
There seems
voice
to be
actor
no
from.
limit to his regeneration, which is why no one's even come close to killing him. It's like the crazy old lady says. I think it's eaten too many hearts for its own to ever stop. The best
love
our
this
heroes
movie.
can
I
do is
love
run him
everything about it.
over and over and over.
You think he's dead?
never are.
But after a trip to an all-you-can-eat prison buffet, the Creeper's as good as new. The story doesn't have a happy ending, but Trish learns a valuable lesson about the Creeper. He's only interested in fear, and when she bravely stands her ground and tries to sacrifice herself to save her sibling, the Creeper just takes her terrified brother instead.
Let him go and take me.
Does any of this sound familiar? You know, like an all-powerful monster who likes his flesh tenderized with terror?
Tasty, tasty, beautiful fear.
But that's not the only thing the Creeper has in common with Pennywise. Just like it, the Creeper needs his beauty rest at regular intervals. Every
The thing similar, woman, is, well, I mean, they have a lot of similarities. 20 something years of silence, then regens, and comes back to kill. Loves fear, loves eating, the fear out of humans. Let's see. Both are pretty terrifying, if they caught me off guard. Let's see. Can't really think of anything else.
23 years for 23 days, the Creeper emerges from his hideout and goes on a feeding frenzy. Once he wakes, nothing can get between him and his breakfast, and honestly, the best thing you can do is just wait it out. Originally, the plan was to set the sequel in the future during its next cycle, but production problems forced the second and third movies to take place during the same time frame. So, just a few days after gouging out Justin Long's eyeballs, the Creeper traps a bus packed with high schoolers in Jeepers Creepers 2. It's the cannibal equivalent of Wendy's dollar menu, and the Creeper stuffs his face with a feast of jocks and cheerleaders. If you're a jock and cheerleader in a horror movie, you're gonna die. Once you, put on that football jacket and, have a pom-pom, you are dead.
You are dead.
Bring your coats and stay in a group.
If you're a high school
It's a lot of
stereotype,
green
you're
screen,
dead.
but I respect it.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
You're not a stereotype, just be you. Shoot it in the head is one of the oldest tropes in horror movies.
If you had a gun, shoot him in the head. That's a sure way to kill him. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat him or burn him. They go up pretty easy.
But not even a full-blown cranial catastrophe could stop the Creeper. He gets impaled through the eyeball with a javelin, which would easily stop your average antagonist, but even with half a head, the creature decapitates a kid named Dante, rips off his old dome, and regurgitates a brand new one.
Just like that.
Snot-nosed teens are no match for the Creeper, but two townsfolk
That
from
run
the
scene
Taggart
was my
family have
favorite
been
scene.
preparing for this
Jeepers
battle
Creepers
for
2 is my
23
favorite.
years. Having lost a loved one during the last cycle, they fashion a homemade harpoon out of his flesh-seeking shuriken and weld it to the hood of their
Shuriken.
own tricked-out truck.
Post bunch of 500.
They blow
Wow.
off an arm and a leg, but come on, the Creeper just lost a head and kept on killing. You think a little dismemberment is gonna slow him down?
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
Oh.
'Tis but a scratch.
He hops after his prey,
'Tis but a
another
scratch.
harpoon knocks him on what's left of his ass. That gives Taggart Sr. the opportunity to go to town. 35 stabs later, the Creeper still isn't dead, but it just so happens that the timer runs out on his 23 days of terror. The movie ends 23 years in the future just before he awakes again, but instead of moving forward, Jeepers Creepers 3 returns to his original killing spree. It takes place between the first and second movie, so we already know he's not gonna die, but you can scare him off if you can expose his origins. The Creeper is one of the most mysterious monsters in all of horror, which is probably why he's one of my faves. I like mystery. I'm like, the less you tell me about the monster, the better. Because that's why I like It Follows so much, because you get the basic rules of the game, and then you're scared because you don't know what the fuck it is.
Exactly.
We
That's why it's
basically
such a
have
good horror
nothing to
movie.
go on besides what's revealed in the movies, and they really don't reveal all that much.
It's not much.
I mean, they have the comics, which basically kinds of
You
shows
can
its
spend hours
origins.
diving through
on
YouTube
how it, you
theories
know.
and wild mass guessing about whether he's a
What is that
former
one?
human cursed with immortality or a demonic entity with a taste for human flesh. But honestly, we don't know a thing about where the creeper comes from, and he wants to keep it that way. We know that he's old, like really old.
It's ancient.
And we know he has a temper. Pro tip, don't urinate on giant, scary, booby-trapped trucks filled with dead bodies. It's not polite.
Yeah. Or else this will happen to you. Depending on what it is. But, just don't mess with it.
Once again, horror movies teach manners.
The more you know.
But if you really want to piss off the creeper, just start snooping around his origins. In the third film, the creeper's on the hunt for one of his discarded hands, because when you touch it, it tells you his terrifying backstory. Nothing can get between him and his hand, not a semi-truck, not a pipe through the head, not even a zillion bullets from a minigun. It turns out the pen is mightier than the sword because all it takes to stop him in his tracks is a simple sign. We know what you are. And it ain't good. That's enough to freak out the creeper, and he calls off the hunt, but we never learned what she saw when she touched the hand. We're gonna have to wait for Jeepers Creepers 4 to discover the truth, and given how hard it was for the third movie to get made, we might be in the dark for a long time. Say 23 years. Still, maybe we're better off not knowing all the creeper's secrets. Maybe it's not a bunch of body parts keeping him alive. Maybe it's the mystery. The less you know about what's about to kill you, the scarier they are. Thanks for watching, guys. Of all the monsters we've done on how to...
Hey guys, so I found this one. Let's go ahead and watch it. So it says, what is the creeper? Complete mythology. So, just kind of explain the origins,
Welcome
I guess.
to FoundFlix. A couple weeks back, I did a video on the recently released Jeepers Creepers 3 and asked if you guys wanted to see a full breakdown of the creeper creature that stars in the series. A ton of people wanted to learn more about the creature, and so here we are. In this video, we will be looking in depth at every single aspect to the creeper, breaking down the creature's history, its weapons, and of course its souped up vehicle, the creeper van. First of all, when it comes to the origins of the creature,
we don't know
what
much
the name
about it.
of his species is, that specific information is still unknown, and most likely the series will never reveal what exactly the creeper is. However, we do know what it wants and how it works. There is still a ton of information in the movies that informs us all about the creature and all of its specific characteristics. So let's begin with a general breakdown of the creeper himself.
Creeper overview.
There's one main aspect to the creeper that drives pretty much everything about his existence. Every 23rd year, he returns to feed in the spring for 23 days, and at the end of those 23 days goes into a sort of hibernation until years later when the cycle begins again. This is his entire MO, to feed on as many humans as possible during this period to keep his ancient body going. We don't ever get his exact age, but in one psychic vision is said to be several thousand years old, and considered to be an ancient devil or demon. He feeds exclusively on humans, but only eats certain body parts from people. For example, lungs so it can breathe, or eyes so it can see. The way it selects the parts it desires is with its keen sense of smell, seen via flaring slits on his nose, and sniffs out which ones he wants. He also uses this sense to smell out his victim's fear. Those that he smells are more afraid of him are the ones that he wants even more. So the weak and afraid usually wind up getting picked first. And
I'm not getting picked first.
The part that it consumes literally becomes a part of it. This is true in two ways. First, in the physical sense. If the creeper loses a foot, he eats a foot, which then reforms into his own foot. We see him collecting these body parts for this purpose in the movies, such as the creeper with Derry's eyes, and interestingly, Justin Long actually plays the creeper here. But one time we see this actual physical process occurring. After the creeper's head is stabbed through with a pole, he pulls it loose, losing a large chunk of his head in the process. So he gets a new head from a victim and eats it, seeing the head poking through in his stomach. Then he removes his damaged head, and the new one rises to his neck hole, forming into the shape of the kid's head, then reverting back to the creeper's appearance. We then assume that the entirety of the creature's body and organs are a kind of patchwork of all the various people's parts he's needed over time. But his victims also become a part of him in a kind of spiritual sense, as we see a few of his various Creeper's victims manifest as ghosts to others to warn them about the Creeper, such
Yep.
as Derry returning in the field to Minxie in her dream in Jeepers 2, and the son in 3 that was killed during the Creeper's previous cycle, both indicating that by being killed by him and consumed as well, their spirits are also now a part of the Creeper, and they are all connected and able to know what he is thinking and what the Creeper is looking for. Another aspect that drives the Creeper that ties again to his body parts is not wanting anyone to learn his mysterious history and origin, which could be the key to destroying it. Galen's son found a severed hand belonging to the Creeper, burying it at his family's farm, and years later his mother unearths it, still functioning, and discovers that by someone making physical contact with it, she learns the entire history of the creature, being lifted into the air and eyes glazing over, causing her body to convulse violently. However, we never learn what she does, and it seems its history will remain forever unknown, and the Creeper is able to get his hand back, destroying it and preventing anyone else from learning about it.
Appearance and personality.
Initially, the Creeper is believed to be human by siblings Trish and Derry, as from a distance he does have the overall same physical size and stature of a human. In order to disguise himself and blend in with people, he wears a long trench coat and hat, which mostly hides his monstrous visage, making him look like kind of a creepy scarecrow. But what's underneath the coat is most certainly not human. Standing 6'3", the Creeper's lean gray body is mostly reptilian in appearance, with bumps covering much of its skin. It also has large, veiny, bat-like wings that allow it to fly very quickly, helping it get from place to place with ease. And they can also be used to wrap up a victim, the skin folding all around them in an inescapable cocoon. Its face is somewhat human in appearance, but with rows of sharp fangs and ridges on the sides of its head. These are actually folds that open up, revealing several talons that emerge out into a fan shape with membrane connecting between them. It appears that he only opens up his real face when in a particularly dangerous situation, as seen at the end of 1 when surrounded by cops, or in 2 when about to reach the end of his feeding cycle. As a vicious killer, the Creeper actually seems to get sadistic glee in stalking his victims, toying with them and terrifying them before they meet their end. At one point, he even cheerfully whistles what is presumably his favorite song, Jeepers Creepers, after he murders some police officers. Though his behavior is markedly different in Jeepers 2 at the end of his feeding cycle. He is much more aggressive here and doesn't bother as much with stalking people, more interested in collecting as many victims as possible with his limited time left. He brings the bodies of his victims to a location that serves as its headquarters, referred to as its House of Pain. His first one of these seen is an abandoned church outside of town, where he uses a drain pipe to dump his wrapped up bodies into an area in the church's basement. This acts as his workshop of sorts, and we see he uses a workbench into which he has carved an ornate self-portrait. Here he stitches together his victims, recreating full people out of various body parts, and in an almost artistic display, hangs the bodies from the ceiling all around the area, creating a grotesque tableau and showing the sheer number of people he has claimed over the years. And when he burns the church down later, in the aftermath, bodies are discovered that date at least 200 years old, showing us he has been in this specific area for a long time, most likely returning to the church each cycle, claiming approximately 500 to 600 victims. He's been a busy boy. The Creeper is incredibly strong physically, able to rip open car roofs and uses wings to flip over a truck. And he doesn't appear to have any real physical weaknesses, as his entire body is made of dead tissue and is able to sustain a ton of damage without actually harming the creature. And he can simply replace any damaged parts. However, it does seem that his own knife does harm him, as seen with Taggart using his launcher with the knife attached. And this allows him to take down the Creeper more so than anyone else seen, despite him still not being completely killed.
Weapons and Creeper van.
The Creeper has an assortment of weapons that he utilizes in his hunting. First and foremost is his hefty battle axe, which appears to be his most preferred weapon. Incredibly sharp, it can cut through steel chains or people's heads with ease. And whatever material it is made of is strong enough to deflect bullets. The other weapons we see appear to be created by the Creeper himself, using his victims' body parts to make these new weapons. There's his throwing star, which he throws with precision to attack his victims from afar, and is used to deflate the school bus's tire, leaving the team stranded. The middle section is created using people's skin, seeing tattoos left over from this. And the spikes appear to be made of sharpened bones. Another long-distance weapon is his spear, with his trademark carvings in the handle. After making sure to aim his shot carefully, the Creeper can throw the spear over an extreme distance. As far as how the weapons are able to achieve such great speed and power, we see when Taggart gets a hold of the Creeper's knife that it literally flies out of his hand across the room, stabbing into a lamp. So we see this is not just an ordinary knife. The knife has a normal blade, but the handle is carved with the Creeper's ornate designs. For lack of a better term, these weapons are enchanted by these carvings, and that is what gives them their over-the-top power. But perhaps the most over-the-top weapon of the Creepers is its vehicle, the Creeper Van. This 1940s era truck driven by the Creeper is initially presented as nothing more than a surprisingly souped-up vehicle that terrorizes Trish and Derry. But Jeepers 3 essentially turns it into a mobile death machine that can even drive on its own. The truck is used to get around incognito, the Creeper putting his bodies in the back until he brings them back to his lair. While it appears to look like a regular truck, the Creeper has done some serious mods on the thing. The outside material is impenetrable to whatever is thrown at it, whether that's a rock or gunfire. Their surface ricochets it no matter what it is, itself receiving no damage. Even the tires are somehow made of the same material, as bullets also don't penetrate them. The interior of the truck is booby-trapped for anyone foolish enough to try to get inside, with automated bars that shoot out when someone tries to get in or out the back door. There's also a trigger-activated trap near the front of the truck that launches a spear out of a hole in the seat. As far as weapons, the truck has a hook attached to a rope line that shoots out of a pipe in the back. The hook is of course covered in Creeper carvings, launching with great velocity, causing major damage to a police car, and is later used to hook a kid and reel him back towards the truck, unable to escape with the hook in his leg. But the piece de resistance are homing spiky balls that he launches out of his truck that create a huge explosion. These things are completely insane, and I honestly have no idea how the Creeper could have made something like this, but it does look pretty cool. This brings us to the conclusion of our in-depth look at the Creeper from the Jeepers Creepers trilogy. While we most likely will never know what kind of specific creature it is or its origin, there is more than a substantial amount we know about the character as presented over the 3 films. And I'm pretty sure I crammed every detail I could find in there. Hopefully this detailed breakdown of what we do know provided enough understanding as to what the Creeper is. Let me know if there are any other creatures or villains in horror.
Well guys, this has been a great video. I hope you guys liked that little horror lesson that I taught y'all today. Anyway, so I hope you guys have a great summer. I'm going to be doing some cool things around the summer, and no, that's not just making videos. But other than that, you guys have a great summer.